ApocalyptiGirl follows Arya and her cat Jelly Beans, and it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where there's some kind of like energy explosion. It destroyed a large part of infrastructure, and humans had to leave the area for a while, almost like a kind of like nuclear explosion or something. And so humans have started to repopulate, but they're for the most part they're very savage. They're in tribes. They hunt and they have they feud constantly with in holy wars. And but there's an oddball, and it's Arya and Jelly Beans, and their technology is better. She doesn't speak any of their languages or anything, and so she just does her best to survive day to day, not being killed by these tribes. And it becomes clear at some point that she's looking for something, that she has a mission, and it unfolds slowly because it's a part of the plot. But basically, we follow her, and she's just trying to survive and trying to find basically the catalyst of that apocalypse. I mean, most of my stories come from a single drawing at some point. I'll draw something that's strictly a piece of art, and then I'm just curious where it came from. Like, I'm just like, who's this person? Like, what do they do? And then those answers come. But once I started to kind of like figure out, that this is, her story was, an apocalypse story, and I started to figure out what types of technologies and things would be in it, like, robots and mechs and things like that. It occurred to me that it felt really manga-esque. So I think that the nods to Akira are pretty obvious. And but I looked to that, but I also looked greatly towards Tekken Kinkri, which I love, the kind of spirit and energy of it. It's both dark and innocent. And I tried to use them a lot. I would even listen to their soundtracks like almost nonstop while writing it and drawing it, and try to really make it kind of have a manga feel to it. It's tough, because it changes. It changes all the time, and at some point your inspiration is no longer conscious to you, or hopefully. I mean, I definitely started in a place where I was a big fan of Hellboy and Umbrella Academy, so, Mike Mignola and Gabriel Ba. But then I fell in love with artists with a more expressive line, like Paul Pope and Toby Cypress, and then I started to use a brush. And slowly over time, I don't know, there's the artists that I enjoy are from all over the place now. I now when I try not to think about my style, but I try to just let it morph and change naturally. But when I do think of I want to be more like so and so or something, those artists recently have been often French. Just because they're more, they seem really expressive, and the shapes and colors are really fun. So I mean, particularly recently, I've been reading the Last Man series, which is French, and I've been looking at and reading some work by Locatelli Kornelski. He just did a interpretation of Pokemon. Pokemon. What the fuck is Pocahontas, which is just beautiful, I mean, beyond just, I guess being taken more seriously as a creator, there's just a lot of things. I hadn't done a story that long. I hadn't written anything that long yet, so I learned a ton. I learned to love to write for myself. I loved that freedom. I basically learned how to color on that. I'd only colored small pieces. I never colored any sequential art. So I learned a lot that way. But also, as funny as it sounds, the other things I had drawn up to that point took place in a lot of things took place in cities or sci-fi with a lot of hard lines and stuff. And So in ApocalyptiGirl, I really learned to draw rocks, draw stones, draw rubble, and all that stuff. So I just got to draw shapes that were outside of the familiar. So going from that back into drawing like my comic Head Lopper, which took place a lot in the woods and stuff. I took a lot of learning to draw rocks and leaves and grass, and that I learned in ApocalyptiGirl. I could bring that into my work, as silly as it sounds, for every day, you know.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. My pleasure.